All right, hello. My name is Ethan Musabata. I'm a grade 12 student at Exchange Met School. Today we'll be talking about the cost of nuclearization yesterday, today, and tomorrow from an economic standpoint. And we'll try and get through it in a timely fashion to get you all to lunch real nice and fast. Yeah, let's just start it off.
I'm Kay Martell, a grade 12 student, and good morning. When we when we th- when we think about the Manhattan Project, we think of brilliant scientists like Oppenheimer and Fermi. But behind that science was an almost unimaginable financial commitment, a blank check from the U.S. government to win the nuclear race. To make sense of the cost, let's break it down. The total price tag was about $2 billion at the time, but that number doesn't mean much to us today. In today's money, that's roughly $30 to $35 billion. Now, to make this concrete, let's think of it not as one project, but as three separate billion-dollar factories being built from scratch in secret. First and most expensive was the uranium enrichment project in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. This one facility alone cost over $1 billion. That is nearly half the entire project's budget, all dedicated to the incredibly complex task of enriching uranium. Second was plutonium production in Hanford, Washington. This massive industrial complex cost $390 million. Think of it as building an entire secret chemical city in the middle of the desert. And third, the actual weapon design in Los Alamos, New Mexico. This is where the actual scientists we know actually worked on. And yet, this think tank and testing site cost $74 million. Putting this into perspective, the U.S. government spent more on a single facility in Oak Ridge than on the entire Los Alamos laboratory, by a factor of more than 10. This tells us that the biggest challenge wasn't just the physics, but the industrial scale production. So in conclusion, the nuclearization of the past began with a simple but staggering price equivalent of $35 billion today, strategically funneled into three primary secret sites. It was the ultimate demonstration of prioritizing a single world-changing goal, regardless of the cost.
Hello, I'm Henry Volk, grade 11 student. It's an honor to be speaking with you all today. I would like to focus on something that happened a decade or two later, sometime around that period, around the 60s. You see, during nuclear testing for the United States of America, there was an operation known as Operation Ivy, and this consisted of two tests, Shot Mike and Shot King, meaning megaton and kiloton respectively. We're going to be focusing on Shot Mike. It was designed to, well, it was designed as a nuclear test to just, sorry. Okay, moving on from that. Sorry, I gotta restart. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Thanks. Thank you. So moving on from that, the test took place in Eniwetok Atoll sometime during the 60s on Ilujilab Island, or what was at the time Ilujilab Island. The explosion itself, this might help. If you remember what Dr. Heflin said earlier, a nuclear explosion in its immediate radius causes everything to evaporate, and a layer of Earth completely vanishes. And that's what happened to Ilujilab. As you can see behind me, that is the north of the Eniwetok Atoll. The entire island gone, turned to plasma, reduced to a crater in the sea. And the explosion was so large that aboard the submarine USS Estes, which was positioned a safe distance away, they looked up to see the mushroom cloud rising above their heads from very far away, like quite a safe distance. But aside from that, just moving on to the general economics, the entire project was about 30 billion US dollars today. And thank you, I suppose. I don't have a proper way to outro this.
Okay, so I'm Anton. I'm a grade 11 student at Exchange Met. So I'll be going into the companies that produce nuclear weapons. So companies like Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martin are defense contractors based in the United States. So what they do is they design and build advanced military systems such as missiles, aircraft, and vehicles such as like submarines or fighter jets, etc. So their operations are closely tied to government defense contracts, research funding, and national security priorities. So moving on. So here are some companies. So here are some companies that invest in the nuclear industry. So we have companies like Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, and Capital Group. And they are companies that invest from companies like Raytheon and Northrop Grumman, and their investment decisions influence funding flows to nuclear weapon manufacturers. And in 2023, over $250 million was spent alone investing.
I'm Adriel Johan, eBay, grade 12 student at the Exchange Med School. These same companies also invest in these companies into entertainment sectors such as the Philadelphia Flyers, New York Knicks, and Netflix, and also through grocers like Costco wholesale. So your $1.50 hot dog or hockey game tickets could also be going towards investing these weapons for mass devastation.
Now, I'll be bringing us past today in the past to our future, or tomorrow, or the day after that, whatever you want to say. So I am Javier Ochoa, grade 11 student, same school as everyone else here. Currently, with our future, it is hard to tell because most countries building their nukes and stuff are trying to keep that secretive, so the other countries they're going against won't get a hand over them. But the main countries that we could focus on are China, the US, and Russia, because we know about their nukes. Russia is currently working on or has already made the nuclear low-yield tactical nuke, which is a miniature version of a nuke. And with these nukes coming into creation, it changes on how our future could be, because who knows, our nukes can get smaller, smaller, and smaller. And with Russia, they've already threatened with their smaller nukes than the big ones that they're going to use it against Ukraine. But, oh crap. With these smaller nukes, the chances of them using it is higher because it isn't making as big of a radius like the big nukes that they used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So with these smaller nukes being made, it brings us farther from world peace because it doesn't do as much impact, which means it doesn't take as much to use them. But instead of like building these nukes and trying to get smaller nukes, shouldn't we be trying to invest in what is more needed, like healthcare, education, housing, and climate, all of that? We are part of NATO. We should be telling our allies like the US to stop with their nukes. Because if they continue down this route and every other country, it could get a lot more worse.
Hi, my name is Elliot, and I'm a grade 11 student. So mentally assured destruction, otherwise known as MAD, is the Cold War idea that if two sides both have nuclear weapons powerful enough to destroy each other, neither will ever dare to use them in theory. Peace is maintained by the threat of total annihilation. For decades, this uneasy balance shaped global politics. Nukes as peacekeepers, fear as stability, but today that education feels far less stable. Smaller nations smaller nations now hold nuclear capabilities and tactical nuclear weapons designed for limited battlefield use that blur the line between the difference and action. So, can mutually assured destruction still assure peace in a world with so many fingers on the button? And maybe more importantly, as we face an increasingly unpredictable future, where should our resources go? Should they go towards nuclear weapons as our guardians of peace, towards nuclear power as our energy solution, or maybe towards something completely different?
All right. Hopefully that was quick enough-ish. Yeah, that's our presentation.